out your station on the World Wide Web.
HitHardRadio.com.
Total Request Entertainment. Our mission is to cover your total requests. When you look to contract a DJ service, make sure they have all the moving parts that is required to do the job. Make sure they're able to meet or talk with you as many times as necessary to make you feel comfortable. Make sure they have backup equipment. Make sure that they have insurance that will cover your venue's requirements. Make sure that they can do a walkthrough of your venue to supply adequate equipment. Can your DJ supply ceremony microphones for the officiant, the bride, and the groom? Do they have battery-operated equipment to be out in the field where there is no power? Make sure that they can handle preceding ceremony music, processional and recessional. Announce the grand entrance and entire bridal party. Do you need an experience and not just some guy that's going to play a playlist? Make sure that you hire someone that can get the job done and take care of your every total request. We are Total Request Entertainment. For booking and contact information, call Eleazar Maldonado at 414-366-7102. 414-366-7102. Or visit the website at TotalRequestENT.com.
Let me ask you something. Would you like to build a podcast? And if you have one built, wouldn't you like to get as much exposure for it as possible? Because HiddenHeartRadio.com is plugging local and national podcasters with the opportunity for more web and radio exposure. With our staff of cameramen and audio experts, we supply the technical tools needed for your podcast to reach a much wider audience. Now, you have a studio set location and access to professionals using professional equipment to film and record your show. And you get to go and upload it wherever you want. But I bet you're wondering how much all this top-notch access will cost you. Well, that's the special part, $60 an hour. That's right. You can access our studio, our staff members, and our equipment for $60 an hour to film and record your podcast. So let me ask you again. Would you like to build a podcast? Good. Call 414-366-7102. That's 414-366-7102 to make an appointment with Eleazar Maldonado to get you started.
The Morning Shift Mke Uncut. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on HiddenHardRadio.com. Real topics, real news you can use, you dig? You can also catch us at the Post of the City page on Meta or Facebook or HiddenHardRadio.com.
Pitch Control.
The Morning Shift Mke Uncut on HiddenHardRadio.com.
What you doing still in bed, man? Yo, you need to punch in for that Morning Shift Mke with Sayer right here on HiddenHardRadio.com exclusively from 10 to 2 p.m. Check it out, man. Listen out.
Good morning, grand risings, all those things you say to the folks you rock with in the AM, man. And y'all know what I say. Listen, y'all, we go through this every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sometimes on Sunday. Always after and never before, man. You take care of your personal hygiene. Don't nobody want you up in their face when you need to get it together. Not even your sweetie pie. She don't want it. She don't want it. Your little baby, you ever wonder why when you get up, you try to go kiss the little baby, make that crazy face? It's because your breath stink. Grand Risers, y'all, how you doing, man? As y'all can see, I have a guest in the building, man. We're going to dive right off into the conversations, man. We getting started a little late. Lot been going on since we last talked, y'all. Man, condolences, man. I see, I don't know what's going on with the city, man. I don't know what's the situations. I don't have any of the details at the moment. You know what I mean? But rest in peace and prayers to the families of Ulysses Turner, man, the artist, the barber, man. That's sad. Also, man, holidays just been a trip, ain't they? 4th of July. Playing with them old fireworks. How y'all managed to take out a whole building? That's crazy, man. At that point, them ain't fireworks. That's explosives. So we got a lot of displaced people, man, along with some we know, some we don't know. Some prayers for them, strength. Hopefully all the agencies just coming together, helping out, man. Track Sanders was a part of that, man. Sorry for all y'all property losses. Luckily, there was no life loss, but everybody did lose everything. We're trying to be a part of efforts to assist, man. But one thing that's a big issue is the scammers. The scammers, man. Y'all come out of nowhere with it, and y'all be quick. How do scammers ask for help quicker than the people who need it? That I will never understand. They fast. They real fast. How they gonna ask for help before the people who really need it? So what I'm trying to do, I'm in action around, is trying to get together a list of the actual victims, man, and see can we come together with some efforts to try to assist everybody. Because sometimes what tends to happen, man, and I know this off experience, when my cousin got killed, rest in peace, man. But sometimes when there's somebody popular involved or a bigger name, other folks tend to fall through the crack, so to say, if that's the right term, and they don't get attention or the needed assistance that they need as well, because everybody be so focused on, that big figure, you know what I mean? So we want to remember that it was numerous people who lost their property and try to make efforts, man, to help all those people. You know what I mean? So I sent the message to Vaughn and Trax already. I'm going to hit up some more people, man. My people at C-Notes willing to let us do something there to raise money, man, for the victims of that fire and all that. So let's try to put something together, man. We got some artists willing to come through, donate, man, their skills and time, and let's make something happen for them folks and ask some more aid. But now, and get that out the way and dive off into my special guest. I'm going to let him say his name, his last name. I can say David. That's cool. But I'm going to let him say his last name first, and then I'm going to, because y'all know, man, I can read, but I can't pronounce. And then I used to date a Mexican girl once a long time ago, right? And that's when I found out I didn't have the rolling R on my tongue and all that. Because certain words, like names, she would try to get me to say, I couldn't say them right and things like that. It was wild. But, man, I want y'all to welcome, man, David from, I'm going to try it anyway, David Castillo. Cool. Did I get it?
Yeah, you close.
I got almost, y'all. I'm gonna keep practicing. And he is from We Will All Rise. And he has a program. He's the program coach for a program called I Can Teach. Yeah. So we're gonna let him in, tell us something about himself, tell us about his program. You hear something you like, you want to know more, the phone lines is open, 414-502-9447. Hey, welcome to the morning shift, man. Thank y'all for clocking in.
Awesome. Thank you for having me here. My name is David Emanuel Castillo. Something I always like to share, my name is Nahuatl. Nahuatl is the indigenous tongue spoken in Mexico. So my name in that language is Cualiolteotl, which means a good heart with God. Just something I like to share.
That's dope.
My name I was given about a few years back. So yeah, We Will All Rise is the name of the nonprofit. Our program is I Can Teach, and essentially what we do, we offer a 1-year teacher residency where we recruit, and we're intentional about who we're targeting for this program. We recruit black and brown boys ages 18 to 24, and it's like I said, 1-year teacher residency. We put them in a pre-K4 in a kindergarten classroom. And they're essentially with a certified and licensed lead teacher. That's just because of the legality of things. And then I come in as a program coach to support whatever the lead teacher is teaching them as it relates to teaching at that level, early childhood education. A lot of it consists of phonics instruction, so phonological awareness. We also focus on other competencies such as emergent writing, dialogical reading, which is reading aloud to kids, and engaging them in discourse as opposed to just shooting information at them. Research shows that just shooting information at kids is not the effective way to teach them. You need to create a back and forth dialogue. So phonological awareness, emergent writing, dialogical reading, also known as effective read-alouds, building positive relationships, which is key. We can't stress that. Relationships, research speaks to the importance relationships has, particularly when working with kids of color, particularly black and brown young people, as well as learning through play. These are our essential, our ECE core competency areas that we want our boys to focus on when they are in the program. So yeah, I don't know if there's more you want to.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good introduction.
Perfect.
But tell us, how did you get started? Give us a little background on you first.
All right, for sure. So I'm initially from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I moved to Milwaukee back in 2014, so it's been 10 years. July 7th, actually. So this weekend marks 10 years being here. I came here. I graduated from the University of California, Riverside in 2013. I had a year of just, trying to get a job, and I couldn't, so I was on welfare. And then I went from still being on dependent on welfare to having working a kitchen job. But I knew I wanted to be in teaching, right? I knew I wanted to work with young people. I initially wanted to go to law school, but then
What made you know so early that you wanted to work with
young people? Back home, I did a lot of the community outreach I did was with young people, and so I used to do particularly after school programming, working at your quote unquote alternative schools, and I say quote unquote because I really don't like that name. But I used to do after school programming at alternative schools, particularly with young people that were impacted by the carceral system. And so I remember there was that experience. I'm gonna speak on that in a bit. So there's that experience, and then during the summer when I was off from college, I would do leadership camps, right? Particularly working with youth that are whose parents are migrant workers. And I just noticed the ability, like I had this ability to connect with youth. And it just brought me back to my experience, right? Navigating Los Angeles Unified School District. I felt I didn't have many adults that I could connect to, right? I also felt like I had a lot of adults that tended to judge me, right? They judged me based on how I spoke, based on how my wardrobe. And so the ability to create a relationship with me was already stifled because you coming in with these preconceptions about me, preconceptions about my family, preconceptions about my community. And I was just like, in my head, like, if this is how you felt about me, my family, my community, then you basically, I'm not allowed to bring all of me in this door when I walk into your classroom. So I always just kept that in my mind to be like, create a space for young people to show up authentically as they are, and use the relationship you build with them as a lever to put them on game, right? Because I know we all want better for our young people, but if you're not taking the time to really even just create that space for them, making that possible is not going to be a thing. So yeah, those experiences, I was just like, I need to be working with young people, right? And then, like I said, doing after school programming at these quote unquote alternative schools with young people that were impacted by the carceral system, whether they had family in it or they were in it themselves. I used to literally have the program leader come up to me. He'd be like, "Yo, like they don't even come to school during the day, right? Or if they do, he's like, they ain't going to their classes. He's like, but they're showing up to your stuff all the time." And I give a lot of kudos to that. I mean, aside from the relationship building piece, and I don't say this to knock down, and right, I don't hope it doesn't come off as like me knocking educational systems anyway, but I think it's safe to say, right, that the current ways we teach black and brown kids, it ain't working, right? And we could look at the inequities to show that, right? Even if you look locally, I think we got like 8% of students reading on grade level, 11% of students proficient in math. And I think I should have to say, right, I'm huge on curriculum. And my approach was really centering at the time, and I didn't realize this was a language for it. I acquired that once I came to Milwaukee, but it's called culturally responsive pedagogy. So it's understanding that this traditional way of teaching, it ain't gonna work for everybody, right? You gotta kind of tailor your education. You gotta tap into culture, and by culture, right, I wanna be clear here, like don't conflate the many things like race, gender, sexual orientation, like. those are components of culture. They are not culture in and of themselves, right? And I should have to say, because I've encountered educators that are like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? Like, I teach black kids, so all my math problems are gonna have LeBron James in them, right? And it's just like, you're assuming that all black kids like LeBron James, right? Like, that may not be true, and that's where the relationships come in, right? Because that's gonna help you figure out, like, what can you tap into culturally that's gonna help students learn. And so for me, a big way I would do that was I would leverage pop culture, like what's going on, you know, in the entertainment industry, what's going on in the world, what are kids being tapped into, and how can I use that as content to then drive learning, right? And then connecting it to the Common Core state standards. So yeah, that's something that I'm big on, and it's something that I see that's lacking in education currently, and so I try my best in my role as a program coach. I'm really intentional to make sure that, and how I coach our fellows, is I want them to develop. I want them to become anti-racist, culturally responsive, and sustaining educators, right? And so the way I do that, aside from all the scholarship I know, because there's like Dr. Gloria Lassen Billings, and she talks about her motto, but a current scholar that I use is Dr. Goldie Muhammad, and Dr. Goldie Muhammad, her motto is literally based on the literary societies, black literary societies of the 1700s. And so her motto seeks to cultivate 5 learning goals. It's the identity learning goal, intellect, so making kids smarter about something, about a certain topic. Skills usually has to do with like your state proficiencies, stuff that's mandated to you that you need to teach. So a perfect example of that is the Common Core state standards. Criticality, so engaging young people's thinking around anti-oppression, and creating a more just and equitable world. And then one she recently added with the publication of her second book, Unearthing Joy, the joy learning goal, right? And it's really what Joy's getting at is giving kids truthful representations of who they are, and of people of color, and just in general, just truthful representations and truthful narratives. And so I actually, for the fellows, we do a book study of her text, and then I get them a basically lesson plan using that framework. And just speaking on early childhood, man, my background has always been after school programming with high school youth, and then working at the high school level. So now working at this level, it's been a huge learning curve for me. But one thing I've noticed immediately is like the text that we're giving young kids at that age, right? Like I'm seeing, for the most part, a lot of text that the schools that I'm at, it's black and brown kids, and they're reading picture books that have animal characters, and when they do have human characters, there's not black and brown characters in them. And I want to give just a huge shout out